Hello, friends, and welcome to the Shaman's View, the view from the invisible world. I'm Dr. Alberto Villoldo. Today we're doing part two of a series about the shaman's journey beyond death. Many years ago, I was in the Andes Mountains, sitting with an old man who became my teacher later, Don Manuel Quispe, one of the last living great shamans of the Andes, raised in the high mountains, very little contact with the West. And I asked him one time, Don Manuel, what is it with all of this teaching about shamanism? I mean, it's so complex, the plant world and the mineral kingdoms and the journeying process and the healing of generational wounds. I mean, this is like going back to graduate school. What's the object of it all? And he looked at me and he had a little smile come on his face, and he said, the object of the shaman's training is to learn how to get out of this life alive, to take our consciousness with us, our awareness of who we are in our essence, to take it with us into the invisible world. When we leave this particle state behind, this body behind, and we return back to the quantum field that is everywhere. So I said, okay, sign me up. I like that. And this, of course, is a journey that we will all have to take at one time or another in our lives. Today I want to speak to you about the second ring. There are 5 rings in the shaman's journey to the invisible world. 5 levels, qualitative levels. They're not 5 different places. Places is the kind of thinking that we have in our world where we go places. We go from here to there. But in the field, remember, here and there occupy the same space. There are 2 qualities to the quantum field. One of them is non-locality, to space, or to time. It means that the past and the future become available to you. And the shaman learns this while she's practicing journeying, that she can go back along her own timeline or the timeline of a patient to find an original wound that derailed their destiny. Maybe that original wound didn't happen 2,000 years ago, but 2,000 years ago in the field is just as readily available as yesterday. And likewise, she can also do that to journey into the future to find a desirable destiny for the village and install that destiny, so that when the hunters go in to hunt, the following morning they can have the timeline of the hunters intersect with the timeline of the buffalo, so that we can reach our destiny and our destination, and do that with minimal suffering. So the second ring is the ring of the plant people. The first ring that we spoke about was the mineral kingdom, the stone people world. Perfectly wonderful place if you're a stone, not such a great place if you are a human being. It's dark, you don't have your senses, you can feel, but you can't touch, you can't reach out, you cannot be held, you cannot be touched. It's cold. And this, of course, is a metaphor. But the shamans combine the language of magic and the language of myth, and they say, yes, everything in life has a soul. And this is where the soul of the stone people. Everything in the upper world is a mirror of our world here. As above, so below. As below, so above. And just like we have the mineral kingdom, and then we have the plant kingdom, and then the animal kingdom, that's also mirrored in the upper world. Stone people world, not a good place to be caught. And this is where we get trapped if we die unconsciously, if we die overly medicated, overly sedated, without being able to say goodbye to our loved ones, or I forgive you, or please forgive me, or even if you cannot get there, at least I am sorry. That clears up so much energy. And it's very difficult to say that from the invisible world, when you don't have a mouth to speak, and when you don't have someone's attention. So the first ring, you definitely want to be avoiding that, and we all have to cruise through there. Now you can take the expressway through the stone people realm, because This is a very dense realm that's almost overlapping with our physical world in order to get to the subtler realms. And the next one you go to after you have purged and cleansed in the stone people realm, or if you have bypassed that altogether because you've done your own healing while you're still in a body. Ah, how exquisite. You can go straight to the plant people world, or maybe even past that into the animal kingdom world, or even beyond that to the place where humans source from. So the plant spirit world is a realm that you not only go after you die, but the shaman is able to journey while she's still alive to find a plant remedy for a patient. What is the healing plant that is most appropriate for this person, not for this condition? I'm working with a group right now, in pharmaceutical group, and they're looking for the plants that will help to cure dementia. This is such important work. How do we help to prevent, first of all, dementia? And I have to keep repeating to them, there are no plans for illnesses. There are plans for people, for individuals, and every individual is different. This is where the medicine woman goes, or the medicine man, or where you can go to find your plant remedy. And so many of these remedies are in our kitchens today, so that our kitchen becomes our laboratory, where you work with the plant spirit, with the spirit of the plants. So before we do that, I'm going to show you how I work with the plant spirits, which is in making this flower essence water. This is incense that is used by shamans with the breath and in the form of a prayer, so that I have very, very clean, pure water, a little bit of alcohol, and plant essences here, plants that I'm connected with and that I use to spritz and to summon the four directions, to open sacred space. So I'm working already directly with the spirits of the sage, of the spirit of the flowers, the spirit of some of the roots that are really important for me, like ginseng, which is a systemic healer, and some of the barks. So the plants that you have developed a relationship with become part of your medicine. And there's medicine that you take internally and medicine that you use externally, like this. To bless a space with the spirit of the plants, not just with the smell of the plants. It's not like burning incense that you're just filling the place with a really lovely smell, like the Palo Santo. There's Palo Santo in there. But you're also calling forth the spirit of the plant. And these are the plants that become your medicine, that you don't use to treat diseases, but you use to treat people. So that one time I was giving a flower essence that I've prepared to a client of mine, and someone asked me, well, that flower essence is not really for that, for migraine headaches. And I go, I'm not treating the migraine headache. I'm inviting the spirit of the plant to enter into my student and bring balance to their body. And when balance returns, the migraine went away. So this is how we work with the plant elements, not to treat disease, but to create balance in a space, to create health, to create beauty, and to develop a personal relationship with your plant medicine. Oregano, such a powerful medicine. And you've got to be careful you don't put too much of it in your flower water, because it's so intense. But these are the plants, the shamans say, that will meet you when you come to the plant spirit world. They will greet you, and they will welcome you, and they will act as your guides, and they will take you to the places that you are in need of healing, so that the plant spirits that are going to be healing to you will work with you energetically in the spirit realm, not chemically. We're used to thinking of plants chemically. This is energetic, completely energetic. Now in the plant spirit world, in the ring of the plant people, this is a place that is full of forest. just like America was and Europe was 1,000 years ago, before the great deforestation of these continents took place. It's like the thick Amazon that is rich and enveloping and scented, and you have one scent over here, and this other plant that's a walking, creeping plant over there, and this one that's a little bit irritating and toxic, but if you learn how to work with it, can be tremendously healing. A little bit of poison can be very powerful sometimes. And they will take you to the place where you will be soothed and healed and return to balance as only the plants can do. Remember that all of our medicines come from plants. There are no medicines that come from animals. All of our pharmaceuticals originally come from the plants. And it's in the plant world that the light emerges. In the stone people ring, it was dark before the dawning of the light. When we come into the plant spirit ring, we find that there is light, that we can see, that our eyes are open, we can understand. And the healing of the soul through the practice of understanding, of deep awareness, of seeing with clarity what your life has been about, what your journey through this most recent incarnation was about. How did I squander my life? I know that I have wasted so much of my life in pursuits and in seductions and in loves and in businesses and in deals that were such a distraction from my goal and my path. And the plants awaken that deep understanding. And if you have worked with the medicine plants, with the sacred plants, they will even awaken a much deeper understanding within you. You will be able to perceive with clarity what your life journey has been about, which is why it's so important to make that journey now while you still have a body to come back to, so that your eyes can be open, your senses can be cleansed. The plant medicine can begin to work on you energetically without needing to necessarily take the resveratrol and the curcumin and the broccoli sprouts that we take for their chemical properties while we're in a body. We can begin to work with them energetically. Every time that we work with supplements at Los Lobos in Chile, where I'm calling from, and every time we work with supplements, I call on the spirit of that plant. When I work with resveratrol, which is amazing in turning on all of these repair mechanisms in the body and switching on the genes that create health and silencing the genes that create disease, I call on the spirit of that plant. The curcumin the same way. So that all of the remedies that we work with, even when they come in a capsule form, I summon the spirit of that plant back into them. And they're so much more potent then. In the realm of the plant people is where we come to purge and to heal. If your purging if you're very unconscious when you get to this realm, but you have gone through the stone people world, you've begun to wake up, then you'll be taken to those plants that really make you purge. You'll be vomiting and evacuating, and you'll be... So this is not the subtle work with the plants, but there are plants that do that very, very well, that'll detoxify you, which is why it's so important to do that now while we still have a body. We're not only detoxifying the body, we're detoxifying the soul. And remember our unique connection with the plants. We evolved with the plants. We didn't evolve with the animals. The animals ran away from us. They had a fight or flight system. They would flee or fight or look at us as food. The plants couldn't go anywhere, and we co-evolved with them. We looked to them for our food, for our medicine. Our programs at Los Lobos are primarily a plant-rich diet, plant-rich, because when we ingest plants and we do it in a sacred way, when we have blessed our experience of eating, people ask me, Alberto, do you bless your food? And I go, my food is fresh, it's so fully blessed. I'm asking my food to bless me. When you do it in a blessed way, then the spirits of the plants are activated. And then you're not relying only on the chemical properties of the plants. So we co-evolve with the plants. They exhale oxygen. We breathe oxygen. We exhale carbon dioxide, which is what they breathe. The plants began to transform the earth a very, very long time ago, when the earth was full of methane and carbon dioxide, and the only life form in the planet were bacteria that would be eating the minerals. Basically, they would be feeding on the minerals, and they derive their energy from from the chemicals, chemosynthesis. And then a great quantum leap occurred, in which a new kind of bacteria emerged that said, hey, I'm not going to be fighting you guys for the chemicals. I'm going to be doing another kind of energy generation. It's going to be called photosynthesis. And there's abundant food, because the other bacteria, when the chemicals in the primordial soup began to run low, they would begin eating each other. And these bacteria said, hey, we're going to photosynthesize. We're going to eat directly from light. And these bacteria are still around today. They're the blue-green algae. They were the first plants. The first plants were actually bacteria, the blue-green algae that are the cyanobacteria. Cyano means blue-green, and they are such an astonishing food. So we leap from bacteria to plants that photosynthesize, and they take the minerals in the soil and they turn it into food for us, but into carbohydrates. So plants for us make the earth, the minerals, bioavailable. We cannot eat dirt, we cannot eat rocks, we cannot eat minerals, we can't absorb them, but the plants transform the mineral kingdom into sustenance for us, combined with water and with light. And we have these amazing carbohydrates that when we eat them, then another bacteria deep inside ourselves, the mitochondria, will take these plant products and turn them into fuel, turn them back into light, and we store it in the body as a form of light in a molecule called ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Phosphate is phosphorus. When you see the children's sparklers, that's phosphorus, that's light. That's a molecule of light that we store in the body for when we need that fuel. Amazing relationship that we have with the plants. For the shaman, there's nothing as important as building your pharmacy that you work with, but keeping in mind the criteria of the shamans, that you're not treating disease, you're helping to bring balance to a person. So all you need is to learn 3 or 4 or 5 herbs and flowers and essences that you can even make at home. Make a tincture. Find the flowers that you love and collect some of them. Lavender, so easy to collect, and put them in alcohol. Let it sit in the dark for 28 days, and you have this amazing tincture that you have made of this very powerful plant. So cultivate your garden to make your own medicine, not just to make food. That's thinking of the biological dense body also, only, but to make medicine, to make extraordinary medicine. The plant ring, the plant people world is after the dawning of the light. And it's where we come into these thick forests to be healed by the spirit of the plants and to be renewed. And there we have to stand judgment. And the judgment that we have to stand at that point is where we are both the judge, the jury, the accused, and the defendant. Did you look after the earth? Did you look after the plants? Did you look after the forest? Did you protect the ecosystem? Did you become a steward of the earth, an earth keeper? And this is the great healing that we have to go through, because if we abused nature, if we were predatory, if we looked at the forest only as natural resources means lumber. It means things that we can use instead of our being predatory and using nature. How did you give back to nature? How many trees did you plant? Did you plant a single tree? Go and plant a tree. And that's going to accrue tremendously good karma for when we go through the plant people world. Remember, it's not about God in these realms. It's about nature. It's about the natural world that has both a visible component, which is the one we're familiar with, and an invisible component. And when you transit from that visible state, this body, into the invisible world where you're a luminous being, you're going to be engaging these forces of nature that will ask you, how did you contribute? How did you bring beauty and joy and peace not only to another human, but to the earth, to the mother, to the ecosystem? Plant a tree. Bring flowers into your home. Greet your beloved with a flower. Get a plant that you hope that you have in your house and care for it. A cactus. Notice the tremendous endurance of a cactus and how once or twice a year this plant that hardly ever grows pops out with this amazing flower. Find the herbs that you like to work with. Make your own herbal preparations. Make some of your own extracts. And then when you go through the plant people world, you will have already come with the essence and the spirit of these plants in your luminous energy field. You'll be able to gather the remedies that will give you the strength and the power to go into the next ring, which is the animal spirit world, where the collective souls of the saber-toothed tiger and of the dinosaur, of the wolf and of the eagle are still there. But that's for our next meeting. Once we come and to the end of our journey in the plant spirit ring, once we have gathered our medicine, because it's your medicine that will lead you into the next realm, into the animal spirit ring. And we'll be able to meet the collective souls of the animals. Remember, and we'll learn about this in our next video, that the animals, the anima, means the soul. And the animals are the soul, is the soul of the earth. They're not food. They're not meat. They're the soul of the planet. Thank you so much for joining me. Find your medicine. Find the remedy that you can make in your kitchen that will make you feel safe, that will make you feel whole, that will bring balance to you. Not that will fight a particular virus or that will fight a flu or a cold or that will make you healthy from a disease. No, that's looking at the chemical structure. Look at the spiritual structure that is unique to you. Find your medicine, infuse it with your breath and your power, and then when you share it with others, you will be bringing that breath and that power and that awakened spirit of the plant to bring balance to another. And then you'll be able to use it also, not only internally, but externally, to bring balance and beauty to your space. Thank you for joining me for the Shaman's View. Create beauty, infuse yourself with this power. Aho.